Imagine spending 3 years of your life building a digital brand, chasing a viral trend, or trying to launch the next big app, only to have a single algorithm change wipe out your entire income overnight. It happens every day. Most people think that to get rich, they need a sexy idea, a complicated funnel, or a tech startup that sounds impressive at dinner times. But while those flashy businesses have failure rates that would make a gambler sweat, there is a whole world of self-employed millionaires who did it by being intentionally dull. They do not own tech companies, they own laundromats, car washes, and storage units. According to actual data, while most trendy startups die in their first 3 years, businesses like laundromats and self-storage facilities sit in the 90 to 95% success range. By the end of this video, you will know the 6 boring business models that keep producing millionaires, the specific filters you need to use to pick your first one, and the exact moment your cash flow can finally replace your current salary. You'll also see why boring is not an insult, it's the entire point. But before we get to the first business, you need to understand why most people actually fail at this, and it has nothing to do with how hard they work. Meet Sam. At 30 years old, Sam was an operations coordinator, earning about $3,400 a month after tax. He had $800 in a savings account and a lot of frustration. He tried the exciting stuff. He tried a drop-shipping store that made $97 in profit. He tried a clothing brand that just left him with 3 boxes of unsold hoodies in his hallway. Every attempt had the same pattern: high hype, complicated systems, and no predictable cash landing in his account every single month. One night, Sam realized something. Most real millionaires aren't influencers. They're people who run what experts call dull normal businesses. These are repair companies, small factories, and local services that people use again and again. Sam decided to stop being clever and start being necessary. This brings us to the first boring business: laundromats. Now, Sam almost skipped this one because it felt too simple. He thought, who even uses those anymore? But then he looked at the numbers. In urban areas packed with renters, people often don't have machines in their units. Even families with washers at home use laundromats for big bedding and heavy loads. The beauty of this business is the pattern. Every single week, people need clean clothes. They pay in small amounts, and they come back without you needing to run a single ad. There's a reason laundromats have a 95% success rate. It's one of the closest things you can find to a repeatable cash flow engine. You find a good location, you put in the machines, and people bring the money to you. Sam found an aging laundromat 15 minutes from his place. The owner was tired and ready to retire. The place looked like it was stuck in the 1990s, but the revenue was steady. He didn't have $200,000 sitting around to buy it, so he did what a boring millionaire does. He scraped together a down payment by selling his car for a cheaper model and using his small financial safety net. He then worked out a deal where he paid the owner back directly from the profits by letting the owner keep 20% of the ownership. This created a monthly repayment pressure that kept him focused, but it gave him control of a productive asset without waiting years to save the full amount. In his first month, the numbers weren't explosive. After rent, utilities, and his monthly obligation to the previous owner, Sam took home $1,317. It was just a side income, but it was $1,317 that did not require him to work more hours at his day job. After 6 months of small tweaks, like adding card readers and a wash and fold service, his cash flow rose to over $2,000 a month. No algorithm, no trendy funnel, just machine spinning. But here's the thing, laundromats are great, but they take a lot of upfront capital to scale. If you want to start with something that requires even less money, you need to look at the second business on our list. It's something most people walk past every single day without realizing it's a tiny gold mine. The second boring business is vending routes. While Sam was upgrading the payment systems in his laundromat, he noticed something. Every time he refilled the snack machine near the door, the same items were gone. He realized the laundromat was not just a laundry business, it was also a captive audience business. People were waiting for their clothes, they were bored, and they were hungry. He bought his first proper vending machine for about $2,300 and put it near the entrance. Then he picked up 3 more and placed them in a warehouse, an office lobby, and a car repair shop. Vending is painfully boring. You drive, you refill, you collect small bills, and you track the totals. But that is exactly why it works. By month 3, his 4 machines were bringing in over $1,000 in profit. By the end of the year, after moving one underperforming machine to a busier gym, the route was clearing over $2,400 a month. Now Sam had 2 boring businesses feeding each other. The laundry brought foot traffic, and the vending machines monetized the waiting time. His side income was now higher than his actual salary. Now imagine if you could own 10 or 20 of these machines. What would you put in them? Most people say soda or chips, but I have seen people make a fortune with everything from high-end coffee to gym supplements. I want you to tell me in the comments right now, if you could own 10 vending machines in your city, where would you put them and what is the weirdest thing you would sell? I am looking for the most creative answer. Only about 5% of people watching this will actually take a second to comment and think like a business owner. If you are part of the 95% who just watches and never acts, I want you to prove me wrong by typing action and your idea. While you're down there, hit the subscribe button if you're tired of the get-rich-quick hype and want more practical ways to build real freedom. We're on a mission to show how anyone can make their first $10,000 a month by staying focused on what actually works. Now that brings us to the third boring business, and this one is a bit different because it relies on a very specific psychological habit people have. The third boring business is self-storage. This one scared Sam at first because the numbers felt bigger, but as he studied it, he saw a powerful pattern. People do not like letting go of their stuff. Once someone puts boxes, furniture, or old inventory into a storage unit, they tend to keep paying for it for months or even years. They tell themselves they'll clear it out next month, but that month rarely comes. Sam did not have the money to buy a massive facility, so he used a different strategy. He partnered with a local contractor who had a piece of land behind an industrial park. The contractor knew how to build, but he hated the day-to-day operations. Sam loved systems and already had cash flow from his other businesses. They built 24 units to start. Within 9 months, 18 of them were filled at about $137 a month. After the costs were split, Sam's share was about $1,500 a month. When you add that to the laundromat and the vending route, his boring empire was now bringing in more than $6,000 a month after all expenses. The lesson here is that you do not need a brilliant new idea. You need a boring one that survives. But storage is a property-based business, which means you have to deal with land and buildings. If you want something that scales even faster with less overhead, you have to look at service-based models. This brings us to the fourth boring business, equipment rental. There's a story about a business owner whose industrial air compressor broke right in the middle of a big job. The manufacturer told him it would take 3 weeks to get a replacement. Without that compressor, his entire factory stopped. He scrambled and found a local rental company that had one available for $500 a day. He paid it gladly because it saved his business. This is the beauty of equipment rental. There are companies all over your city that occasionally need a specific tool or machine that they do not want to own themselves. If you have that equipment in working order and ready to go, they will pay you a premium to use it on a daily basis. You can start small with power tools or lawn equipment and work your way up to industrial machines. It is an incredibly efficient way to build wealth because you buy the asset once and it pays you over and over again. Plus, the unglamorous work of maintaining the gear is exactly why there is so much opportunity. Now, speaking of unglamorous work, the fifth business on our list is perhaps the most boring of all, but it has some of the most predictable revenue in the world. The fifth boring business is recurring local services. This includes things like pest control, lawn care, or window cleaning. Think about a basic pest control route. You have 80 homes paying you $60 a month for a regular service. That's nearly $5,000 a month in gross revenue from just one technician and one truck. The reason this works is the same reason the laundromat works: habits. Customers sign up once and stay on the route for years. Revenue is predictable. Sam met a guy at a conference who started a window cleaning business with just a squeegee, a bucket, and some soap. Today, that guy runs a business doing $10 million in revenue with 40% profit margins. He's clearing $4 million a year by cleaning windows. The secret is starting lean. You do the work yourself at first so you understand the pain points. Once you know how to solve those problems, you build a system and hire a team to follow it. Most local businesses are still using outdated marketing tactics like billboards. If you're a little bit faster, a little bit more responsive, and you use modern ways to reach your community, you can quickly become the best in your area. But what if you want something that involves even larger assets, something that feels a bit more permanent? The sixth boring business is car washes. Not the giant, flashy tunnels you see on the highway, but simple local car washes. Car washes are a perfect example of unsexy leverage. You invest in the equipment, the brushes, the vacuums, the water systems, and then you let the volume do the heavy lifting. A basic car wash can bring in hundreds of thousands in revenue with very little staffing. People pay $10 or $15 without thinking twice. They come back whenever their car looks dirty. And over time, the land underneath the car wash often becomes your most valuable asset. Sam looked at a small 4-bay wash that was netting about $73,000 a year. It was a simple service with few moving parts. It fits the pattern perfectly. So how do you actually pick which one of these is right for you? Sam used 3 specific filters to build his wealth, and you should too. Filter 1. Do customers pay you at least once a month without you having to chase them? This is why laundry, storage, and recurring services are so powerful. They tie into habits. Filter 2 is the customer's decision low drama. No one calls a family meeting to decide on a $12 car wash or a $2 soda. The price is small enough to slide under the radar, which makes your income more stable. Filter 3, can you eventually own or control the asset under the cash flow? This is what changed Sam's life. He stopped asking what business could go viral and started asking what boring business in my city has an owner who wants out. By the time Sam was 38, his picture looked very different. He still wore the same jeans and drove a practical car, but his laundromat was paid off, his share of the storage facility was worth a fortune, and his vending route was a consistent cash machine. His net worth crossed the $1 million mark not because of one viral moment, but because of slow, steady growth from assets that most people ignore when they drive by. You do not have to start with ownership. You can start by spending one afternoon a week looking at local businesses for sale in your area. Look for laundromats, vending routes, or small service companies. Ask yourself those 3 questions. Stop underestimating tiny cash flow. That first $1,300 from the laundromat did not make Sam rich overnight, but it changed his direction. It proved he could earn money without selling his time to a boss. Tonight, I want you to pick just one of these 6 boring businesses that fits where you live. If you are in a crowded city, look at laundromats. If you are in the suburbs, look at pest control or car washes. Write down 3 concrete moves you can make tomorrow. Maybe it is finding 5 local laundromats and seeing which ones look neglected. Maybe it is searching for vending routes for sale. These are tiny steps, but they are the exact steps that started Sam's path. 6 years from now, people might call you lucky. They will see the businesses and the numbers, but they won't see the nights you spent studying boring systems while everyone else was chasing the latest hype. If you found this helpful, make sure you are subscribed. We are going deep into how to scale these businesses in the next part of this series, and you do not want to miss the checklist we use to evaluate every new deal. And before you go, I have a challenge for you. Most people will watch this and do nothing. Prove you are different. In the comments, tell me which of these 6 boring businesses sounds the most appealing to you and one reason why. I respond to as many comments as I can to help you get started. Own boring. Serve needs, not trends. Stack your cash flow. If you do that with discipline, you might just look up one day and realize you have built a life that is anything but boring.